I'm going to give you 5 Chicago Bears players that we should watch closely at training camp. And it starts right now. Now, before I get to the video, if you guys could, please like the video. Please subscribe to the page because we do talk Chicago sports weekly. We don't want you to miss a thing. So make sure that you hit that bell. This is the only Chicago sports show that's talking Chicago sports, how Chicago talk. So get in tune with us. Now, if we look at the 2020 season, let's be real. Things didn't go how we planned, right? Let's just be real. 8-8 was not the season we expected this team to have coming in. We have higher expectations for this Bears team, especially this Bears defense. But with all that being said, as we look at the season coming up, and we look at the roster that's coming into this year, there is a lot of young talent for the Chicago Bears that can be developed this season. And so definitely want to look at some of that coming into training camp. But you also have to look at the fact that, let's be real, there is at least one superstar veteran on this offense that you have to pay close attention to. And of course, a couple superstars on defense that you have to pay some close attention to. So here's my list of 5 Chicago Bears that we need to be paying close attention to at training camp. Number 5 for me. It would seem that Eddie Goldman is back in Chicago, so you have to look at Eddie Goldman as you got to look closely to see how his game is developing. I mean, he is a key piece of this defense. Like I said in the video before, seeing him return back, seeing him be effective on defense is going to be so key to what the Chicago Bears team wants to do this season. If he's coming up the middle, here's the biggest part, right? Akeem Hicks, we've seen him kind of as the heart of that defense when he's playing at his best, which we haven't seen in a while, due to injury, due to a few different things, but something that we haven't seen in a while. We know that this defense is a lot better when you have Eddie Goldman back in that middle. That makes Akeem Hicks better. Akeem Hicks being better makes Khalil Mack better. Khalil Mack being better makes Jalen Johnson better because there's more pressure on the quarterback getting the ball out of there, and that makes it easier for the cornerback to either get a pick off a mistake or maybe there's a tip ball at the line. But it all starts with that pressure up front, and I think a key for this defensive line this season is gonna be Eddie Goldman. If you look at his game, and I understand that a lot of people are saying, well, maybe he doesn't have it anymore, maybe he's ready to retire, maybe football's not his first love. If that's the case, the Bears defense could be in a little bit of trouble because we know Akeem Hicks he's just gotten older. It's not to say we don't love him, it's not to say that we don't think he's still talented, but he's just gotten older. And so you want to see him really be able to get out there and do as much as he can with Eddie Goldman next to him. If Goldman's coming through the middle, quarterbacks are dropping back. They're like, oh snap, here comes Goldman. Let me take this step to the left. Oh snap, that's Akeem Hicks over there. Let me step. That's Khalil Mack. Oh, let me step over here. And then I'll tell you this: if Eddie Goldman has an all-star season, has a Pro Bowl season, Robert Quinn will again have a Pro Bowl season because you'll see a lot of quarterbacks just falling into his lap. That pressure up the middle means so much, and I think you have to watch him closely at training camp to see if his game is going to come back the way that it did, and of course going into preseason and stuff like that. Now, number 4 on the list for me, you got to take a look at another veteran in this situation, right? I don't believe that Allen Robinson's contract is going to get done before the July deadline. So more than likely, you're going to be going into a season where he's going to be playing to see what kind of contract he's going to be worth in the coming seasons. I think that the Bears, hopefully, I'm really hoping that they're not dumb enough to let him go, but I think that they're hopefully going to get him in here and get this contract done. But you are going to see a more motivated Allen Robinson than we've possibly ever seen before. And by the way, he's actually got a couple of competent quarterbacks possibly throwing him the football. Now, you can say what you want about Andy Dalton. I think that Andy Dalton, I'm not saying that he's going to be the savior. I'm not saying he's going to lead us to a Super Bowl, but I am saying that he's pretty consistent in hitting guys in the hand when he's got a little bit of protection in front of him. Now, that's yet to be seen, but if he's able to hit these guys in the hands, which we know he's been able to do when he's been protected. Listen, Allen Robinson's a guy who absolutely, with a motivated motor under him, with some fire lit under him, oh my goodness, you can see a dominant performance, a once in a lifetime performance from a Chicago Bears wide receiver from Allen Robinson this season. And so, and you'll know that's going to start at training camp. We know that he's already been working out. We know that he's already been working with Justin Fields, working with his receivers, working with Darnell Mooney, trying to see how much he can get ready for this season before we get into the actual process of the season getting underway. This is going to be a season to watch closely. And Allen Robinson, I just think that he is a game-changing wide receiver, absolutely a #1 receiver when you look at receivers in the league. And he's finally going to have a quarterback who's a little bit more competent. Even if you guys think Justin Fields is the guy, I've seen Justin Fields hit a goal post. I always give the example on the show of when Brett Favre was talking about what makes a dominant quarterback. You know, a okay quarterback can throw the ball through the door. A good quarterback can hit the doorknob. A great quarterback can hit the keyhole. Go check out that video of Justin Fields throwing it at the field goal post from probably about, I don't know, was that 50 yards? Maybe 50 yards, maybe a little more. I gotta look at the yardage on that, but hitting it dead on the head, that's the kind of quarterback that he could have throwing to him this season as well. So I think Allen Robinson poised for a breakout season, and hopefully the Bears can get a contract done that you I can't believe we're here with this, like he's not good, bro. Like we see it, right? Like we've all seen it. Like we're really here. Like he might not come back to the Bears because anyway, that's my number 4, Allen Robinson. Let's keep going with the list. But actually, before I continue with the video, I do want to know you guys' thoughts. Let me know in the comments below some players that you'll be watching closely at training camp, that you'll be watching closely this season moving forward. I love hearing from you guys. I love talking with you guys, man. So I'll be down there talking with you in the comments as well. Oh, and before we get up out of here, if y'all ain't copped no merch yet, a little bit of merch out here now, make sure to check the link in the description below, twcbreeze.com. Now, number 3 for me, and I'm gonna be real with you. You might look at me and say a little early to be watching this guy closely, ain't it? And absolutely not. Tevin Jenkins to me. He's somebody that is so key to what the Chicago Bears want to do. And yes, there's a lot of things that fall on it. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things. It does depend on the health of the offensive line. Cody Whitehair went out with an injury last year. James Daniel went out with an injury last year. So losing those 2 pieces is huge. But if you're dropping Tevin Jenkins into the mix, if he can come in and be the day 1 starter, that is a dangerous now offensive line, because if you've got 3 studs on your offensive line, which Cody Whitehair absolutely a stud when he's in there, when he's healthy. James Daniel, when he is healthy, one of the best in the game. And he's been relatively healthy. Last year had the tough injury. Hopefully he'll be able to rebound from that injury very well. But I think that having those 2 pieces is key into what the Chicago Bears want to do. But Tevin Jenkins is going to make such a difference, because seeing him come out of college, seeing if he can make that quick adjustment, if he can, now that gives Andy Dalton the protection that we've been hoping Andy Dalton's been able to get. The Andy Dalton's been hoping he could get for the last few years. Let's be real, the last few years. But that we've been hoping we can get for a Chicago Bears quarterback for a few years ourselves. Like I've said, Nick Foles, Mitch Trubisky with better protection are better quarterbacks. That's just a fact. If you're not running for your life, you can stand back there and survey the floor. You're going to make better decisions. Does that mean that there's Super Bowl caliber quarterbacks? That might not be the case, but better. And Andy Dalton, like I said, if he's protected, can be better. And listen, if that offensive line is showing, for everybody that wants Justin Fields to be better out there, you need to be watching Tevin Jenkins very closely, because if he shows that he can be the day 1 starter and you've solidified key pieces at your offensive line, then that means if Justin Fields is playing great, Matt Nagy's less apprehensive to be like, yeah, go ahead, throw the kid out there, because he's not worried about the kid losing his life in the first season because he's running for his life. We don't want a Joe Burrow situation where every play, every down, he's running for his life. You know what I'm saying? Like, Joe Burrow literally was running for his life the entire season, and it finally caught up to him. We don't need that. We finally got what a lot of us believe is our franchise quarterback for the next 10 years. Let's protect him. If Tevin Jenkins can show that he can be a solid piece on that offensive line, that he can give whatever quarterback is back there some time. And I love the attitude he's coming in with. He's like, listen, if you touch my quarterback, now that's between me and you. You know what I'm saying? That's on me. That's between me and you. My quarterback shouldn't be dirty. If he can carry that mentality into the NFL and back that up, then I'm okay with you saying, hey, let's throw Justin out there. Or even if Andy's doing well, we'll know the reason is because, one, he's got that time to make good decisions that he didn't have down in Dallas. So Tevin Jenkins, somebody I'm absolutely going to be watching closely. Now, number 2 for me, and this is somebody that I think could have a breakout season to a Pro Bowl level season if you can get him the ball, which we didn't see enough last season. You have to look at the man, Cole Kmet. If you can get him the ball, and listen, Cole, hopefully you've worked on the whole holding on to the ball thing. There was some issues with that on your part last year, but I just think Cole was not a part of the offense enough last season. I understand you're trying to get him to learn the offense. I understand you're trying to get him acclimated to the offense. Okay, he's here, he's acclimated. Let's get him the ball as consistent as possible. I mean, there's even an opportunity because Jimmy Graham is still there to run a little 2 tight end set. Let's get these guys the ball as much as possible because, especially for a young quarterback or even Andy Dalton, if you've got that option of Cole Kmet coming across the middle, looking to lay some people out, and especially in the end zone, if you can get down there, if this defense takes the step in the right direction under the control of Sean Desai that we're hoping it takes, bruh, and you're starting off at the 15, at the 20, because the defense is holding teams, is getting turnovers, is making those moves. Hey, now you're looking at it, oh snap, I've got this gigantic guy standing in the end zone, literally just boxing out DBs. Let's get him the ball. And we've even seen Cole Kmet in the open field. When he gets the ball, he's able to make a move. Now, like I said, he's got to work on holding on to the ball. There was sometimes last season where that was his problem. But if he's got the ball, if he's got space, we know that he can make moves. I think I could see a breakout season. We could have our own mini Travis Kelce, our own Gronk, whatever you want to call it. I try not to make those comparisons, but this is the one thing that I saw last season from him. He's got sure hands. If you can get the ball in his vicinity, he's probably going to be able to catch it. It's all about him holding on to it and all about what he's going to be able to do. So he's absolutely somebody that I'm watching closely at training camp because I think that he changes that entire offense. If you're able to kill teams with your tight end position, he changes the entire offense for you, and he's able to make so many things happen that all of a sudden Allen Robinson's game opens up. All of a sudden Darnell Mooney's game opens up. All of a sudden Tariq Cohen's able to make a move. Heck, if you get the passing game going, guess what? David Montgomery's back in the game. Those are the key pieces that are going that to me, really, if you're able to get the offensive line solidified and your tight end position is shored up, all of a sudden everything else is gravy for you. Now your quarterback position is doing well. Your tight ends are catching passes. Now your wide receivers are getting better looks. Now all of a sudden the passing game is working. Now all of a sudden the running game has a better chance of working as well. And so it all starts on the line, but a big chunk of it to me is the production you get from Cole Kmet mostly this season and a little bit of Jimmy Graham. But I'm going to be watching that tight end position. I'm going to be watching Cole Kmet closely at training camp and of course throughout the season. And the number one player that I'm going to be watching closely at training camp is not Justin Fields. To me, because I feel like we're going to be watching him, I could say that. It's a cop-out to me. Yeah, I mean, I can say, yeah, Justin Fields, of course, we want to see what he can do. We want to see if he's the starting quarterback. There's so many reasons why we can watch Justin Fields, right? But either way, there's a lot of other positions that help Justin Fields be better if he's on the field, and I want to see those positions flourish. I want to watch those positions closely to see if they flourish, to see if Justin Fields can have success if he gets into the game. So the number one player for me, you have to be talking about David Montgomery. Now, David Montgomery was able to get it going a little bit more when he was getting the ball consistently, and a lot of that is on Matt Nagy, but a lot of that's on that offensive line as well. You have to feed David Montgomery the pill and let him do what he's able to do. He wants to pound you and punch you in the mouth and do everything he can to move the ball up the field. And when he's consistently able to do it, this is the thing. David Montgomery, does he have an ability to break ankles? Yes. Does he have an ability to get past the line and put a little bit of speed on you? Yes. But he is more of a power back type. He wants to break tackles. He wants to hit you in the mouth repeatedly. And you know how you get those kind of running backs going? You allow them to hit teams in the mouth repeatedly. Now, he's not as big as Marshawn Lynch, but do you know why? Marshawn Lynch said it best. When you hit him in the face over and 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 over again, eventually they get sick of getting hit in the face. Allow David Montgomery to do that. He is key at what the Chicago Bears want to do this season. He is so key to if he's able to get himself going game in and game out. He had it early in the season when the Bears were winning, and guess what? He had it late again at the end of the season when the Bears were winning. Now again, against lesser competition, that schedule in the middle got tough. Bears took a lot of L's, right? But the running game was null and void. It did not exist, and because Matt Nagy looked at it and said, okay, well, it's not working. I can't just run the ball every play. I get that, but you have to make an effort. You have to keep it honest. And if you allow David to continue to put the pressure on these DBs, on these linebackers, on these players up the middle, if you allow him to just keep going at them, eventually he's going to break through. That's something that I noticed from him last season. And I'll be real with you. I think I can't say for certain, but I think watching how Cordero Patterson was running at the running back position, all of a sudden you saw David Montgomery getting a lot more aggressive. He's very patient. But we saw him, I think, later on in that season when a hole opened up. He was patient for the hole to open up, but he was going to hit that hole as hard as he could. And that's when, the beginning of the game would start off. David Montgomery's got 20, 30, 40 rushing yards, and going into the second quarter, going into the half, maybe he's only got 45 rushing yards. You know what I'm saying? But the second halves, he would be dominant, hitting these guys in the mouth when they stuck with him. They didn't stick with him enough. And so to me, that is the biggest difference maker, because if you can get this run game going consistently, if you can keep David Montgomery attacking, keep him ready in attack mode, all of a sudden the defense doesn't know what to do. Now your passing game is at its most dangerous. Now all of a sudden Andy Dalton or Justin Fields is at his most dangerous because everybody's playing up, trying to slow down Montgomery. I understand that we're trying to get to the point where we are a passing team. I'm fine with that, but that does not mean forget what has worked. The Chicago Bears and running backs are synonymous for a reason. It works. Do we have our quarterback of the future right now in Justin Fields? I believe we do. But you know what's going to help him a lot? You know what helps Pat Mahomes a lot? You know what helps? Name the quarterback. Aaron Rodgers has a great running back. You know what makes the difference? When the run game's going, I can't focus solely on you. And guess what? If I am focused solely on you, that means the run game is going to dominate and it's going to lead to wins. So David Montgomery is my number one player that I am watching coming out of training camp. And I think that he's going to be the most important for the Chicago Bears to improve this season, to get it done this season. And no matter where Aaron Rodgers is in the division, hopefully out of the division, I think he's going to be the key piece for us to make the playoffs this season, along with, of course, the quarterback position. But I want to know how you guys feel. Let me know in the comments below. I'll be down there talking with you as well. Who are you going to be watching closely at training camp? I'll be down there talking with you in the comments. As always, it is your boy Pat the Designer, back at it again to continue watching our Chicago Bears content. Click the links here or check the links in the description below, and make sure that you cop a little bit of merch. You feel me? Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Peace.